Paddy, can you put me into the mind frame, just to switch tack here a little bit? Can you put me into the mind frame of a Dublin footballer the week of a Leinster quarter final over the last 7-8 years? How are you preparing to take on Wexford when the odds are that stacked against you? I know you're saying you don't read into it and you don't look at the odds or anything like that. How would you prepare for this match?
I'm telling you the truth that we don't listen to any of that stuff outside. Look, Dublin players will know that they're going to be favourites for this, but they will prepare for that game the exact same as they would have prepared for their 4 National League games, and it would be as if they're playing Mayo or Kerry.
What do you mean?
The game would have been. Game was on Sunday, so Dublin probably in the gym on Monday or tonight. That'll be the first time they've been together since the game. They'll have clips that will be shown to them, so they'll see the highlights of Wexford's game against Wicklow, and probably somewhere with all the games on GAA Go, they'll probably have a couple of clips of Wexford National League games as well. Coaches, Nick Galvin and his coaching team will be kind of giving high-level details to the Dublin defenders and the Dublin offensive group. For the defenders group, it'll be, here's 10 clips, here's their scores, this is what they're doing really well, and here's 1 or 2 or 3 of their key players. The same, the Dublin forwards will get, these are Wexford's man markers. Conor O'Callaghan, this is who you're likely going to be up against. This is their goalkeeper, this is their kick-out strategy. That'll all be done tonight. And they'll train, and they'll spend probably an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes after that training session, sitting around talking and watching clips of Wexford. And they'll be getting to know Wexford. Okay, these are the key players. They'll go on later on in the week then, and the players themselves.
So are you in groups? Are you in groups doing that?
It'll just be like your defenders will be sitting there and your forwards will be sitting there, and they'll have a conversation with the defensive coach and the forwards coach. You know, this is the style of play Wexford are doing. Here's their clips, their scores against Wicklow, and then from their earlier games in the National League. Later on in the week, then the Dublin players will probably present back to their teammates and go, look, this is, if it's Scully's got to be talking about the Wexford defenders, or Johnny Cooper or Mick Fitzsimons is talking about the Wexford forwards. Dublin will go into this game on Sunday against Wexford. They'll know every single Wexford player. They'll know what foot they kick with. They'll know what hand they hand pass with. They'll know their kick-out strategy. They'll pinpoint areas that they'll be able to hurt Wexford kick-out. That is the preparation Dublin do for every single game. And this is where you can get caught up listening to the media and any outside distractions, because I guarantee you, Dublin lads are going to work this week, and us ourselves, they'll have conversations go, sure, you're going to beat Wexford by 30 points. That's grand. Just block that out. I'm preparing. I need to be ready to play Wexford. And they will have that preparation. That week will be the same week as if they were playing the All-Ireland final. That's why Dublin have been so consistent over the last 10 years. There isn't that, they don't slip up, because that's the standards there. And if you just look at it from a player's point of view, and I would have had this myself when we played Wicklow maybe in 2018, the first round, and my preparation for that was, if I don't play well, I'm under pressure here and someone's going to take my place. So I am preparing for this game. Even though we're red hot favourites to beat Wicklow or Wexford, I need to perform or someone's going to take my place. And if you look at the Dublin team for the weekend, most likely there's probably Fenton, Kilkenny, Con, and maybe James McCarthy. There's probably 4, or maybe Scully. There's probably 5 players there that no matter what, they're still going to play the next day. But that leaves 10 guys in that team that are literally, they are under pressure to perform. Whether it's Wexford or whether it's Kerry, they need to play well, they need to prepare. Cormac Costello's under serious pressure, because if he knows if he doesn't play well, even though he's the top scorer in the National League, well, Dean Rock's going to come and take his spot. If Cluxton's back in goal or not, Evan Comerford's getting a game, he needs to prepare because if Cluxton's there on the bench. Johnny Cooper hasn't played a lot in the National League. He has 7 All-Irelands and a couple of All-Stars. He's got to be mad to play well against Wexford. That's the environment there. And that's why every single game, National League, Championship, Leinster quarter-final, All-Ireland final, you prepare, respect the opposition, and you need to go out and perform. And that's not bullshit. That's the mentality there. Respect your opposition. And if you don't prepare, someone else is going to prepare instead, and they'll take your place.
I was going to ask you, how does complacency not set in? But you've answered it there. Was there any game?
Take it ahead of you, Tommy.
Was there any game in Leinster over that period, you mentioned the Wicklow game. I think that was 425 to 111. There was a Carlow game I remember where Carlow actually put up a bit of a fight. Was there any of those matches where you came into the dressing room afterwards and went, we didn't prepare well enough for this Leinster quarter-final, semi-final?
No, not really. Honestly, there wasn't. Maybe some guys wouldn't have been happy with how they performed and they would have had those conversations with the coaches, but it would have been very rare that would have been down to a lack of preparation or a complacency or a lack of respect. Like I said, we learned the most valuable lessons in 2014. And if you ask any player, and we touched on an earlier pod about Kerry looking angry this year, if you're a serious player and a serious team, there is nothing worse. There is no worse feeling than when you've lost a game that you know you shouldn't have lost. When you lose a big championship match and you're thinking, hell on God, if we played that match tomorrow, we'd win by 10 points. And that's when you lose because you're complacent and your preparation isn't right. There is no worse feeling if you're serious about your football and being a serious athlete. So you just don't put yourself in that position. And once you experience it once, and that's what you've seen, Kerry experienced it last year with Cork, no matter what comes out, they were complacent in that game. Their game plan was set up to prepare for another team. Their whole game plan was picked as if they were playing Dublin. Like, that's coming from the coaches. So don't talk about they weren't complacent. They were. Your eyes don't lie to you what happened on the pitch there. And that's why you can see the focus. And they're going to be hurt by that because they're serious football people. They're serious football players. They're smarting over that. And once you learn that lesson once, you'd be an awful fool to let it happen to you again. So with Dublin, like I'm telling you, and people kind of take it, they believe it or not, but the preparation for the game against Wexford will be taken as seriously as any other game.
Andy, anything jump out to you from that? Like, is that the same in Mayo, preparing for Connacht Championship naturally?
No, it hasn't been, and it's there's great lessons in that. I think Dublin have a huge advantage because there's such level of depth of player talent that they have. That I think we've mentioned before. No matter what Conor McManus does for Moran, he's going to play it. So there is a bit of, but you can see it, and I presume this all started, Paddy, after 2014, where you really went into the analysis side of it. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, we would have done it a bit, but because we won the All-Ireland in 2013, and we were, like I say, we were allowing kind of outside influence to start to creep in. And it's only little things. It's not lads like taking the piss and going, it's just little things start creeping in and standards start to drop. And all of a sudden you do start believing your own hype. And then you get your feedback out on the pitch and you look like a fool. You've lost a big game that you know you shouldn't have lost. And there's no worse feeling than that. So once you have that lesson, you just don't let it happen again. Why would you? Why would you let that happen again if you're repeating the same mistakes? So 14 was a big lesson for us. But you're right, Andy. It's if you have players breathing down your neck, the coach's job is nearly done for them because if you don't do it, I'll tell you, there's probably 10 other guys who are sitting there, number 16 to 24 on the panel, or 25, that they will do it. But they'll do everything.
And I've often found this with teams I've been involved in over the years, is the consistency of preparation might be there. So what Dublin are doing there they're building memories, like they're building muscle memory in the way they prepare. So there's nothing different. So if you're preparing for Wicklow like this, and then you have Kerry in a semi-final, or Tyrone or Mayo, and then you have them in the final, you've done the same routine the whole way through, it just becomes incredibly easy. And the All-Ireland final then doesn't become such a big occasion, such a big deal, because you've done it right through. Yes, there's obviously going to be a bit more serious, like it's not seriousness, but you're going to focus in a tiny bit more. But if that preparation is consistent, it's the same as work, Tommy. Sure, like when you're doing pods, the best podcasts are the ones you're more prepared for. And Dublin just do that over a consistent period of time. And the proof is in the pudding. Like, look what they've done over the last, many Leinsters is it in a row? It's insane. And it's insane.
Didn't prep for that one.
No, it didn't prep for that one. Yeah. Like it's 6 All-Ireland.
That's not important. What happened 10 years ago isn't important,
Can I ask a question about 14 and the change, I suppose, that came after that? Was it the players who demanded more from the coaches, or the coaches who demanded more from the players?
It was all of us as a group. Like everyone involved in there, whether the 30 players and the 10 or 11 kind of coaches and physios, and everyone in the group looked in the mirror there and said, did we do enough? Were we good enough there? And we would have been a very close-knit group, and I know Andy and Mayo, you guys would be the same. We win together, we lose together. So everyone in that group, from the coaches, from the physios, we've guys injured. You know, is that the physios, is the doctors, are they doing enough? Is our strength and conditioning, is our gym program good enough? Our selection decision from Jim and the coaches, they're questioning themselves, and then ultimately the players on the pitch. You need to take ownership and take responsibility as well, and not be looking for excuses from someone else. Everyone needed to look in the mirror and go, was that good enough? Was that our standards? And it wasn't. And everyone learned the lessons, and we came back at 15 and we're very hungry, and it went well. But like it comes, like I say, there's valuable lessons to be learned in that. But it's never a case of, that's the coach's fault, or the coach is going, well, that's the player's fault, or the physio's going, well, you're injured because you didn't do the rehab I gave you. Everyone is in this together, and that was always the kind of the attitude and the culture within the Dublin team. When we won, it was everyone's success, and when we lost, there was no pointing fingers at someone else. It was all of us together.
And again, Paddy, not knowing Jim Gavin from anyone, but I can imagine that he wasn't coming in shouting at fellas, listen, this is your, like, you know, we've all been in them dressing rooms where the manager comes in and he starts throwing things and it's like everyone else's fault. But like, where have you improved between 14 and 15? What have you done during the winter?
Yeah.
You were a better coach, better manager. And I think if a manager comes in and be humble enough to say, okay, hold on here a second, I might have done this, and this wrong. I'm going to improve this. I need you guys to, you know, I think it kind of, you know, the Rolling Stone and all that, it kind of just keeps moving on.
But Andy, no one has all the answers. No one. Like, even, like, I don't know David Clifford, but I'd imagine everyone in the whole country is saying he's one of the best players of all time, and he's only, 22 or 23. I'm still sure he's going to practice his freeze every night of the week. He's doing, you can see the work he's done physically in the gym over the last 6 months. We're talking with Sean O'Shea. Nobody has all the answers. Me and you, Andy, we're trying to we're hanging together our bodies, and we're still trying to get better as better players. That's what it's about for players and coaches. The day you think, oh, we've all the answers here and we'll be grand and we don't need to put in the work, that's the day, that's complacency. That's the day you'll get caught. And we started off this pod talking about arrogance. That's arrogance. Thinking that I don't need to do anything more. Like, the prime example that I've seen up close is Stephen Cluxton. He's probably 56 years of age and he's still going back. Do you know what I mean? He's still practicing his kickouts. He's still down on training. That's, like, say, Andy, you're saying success leaves clues. Like, there's one of the most obvious ones, you know.